the first thing you said, came in, divide and rule, right? Came in, establish a system that will favor them and will serve them. So, came in, disrupted an already existing system, and an already existing way of life, and infiltrated their system to actually go on ahead and disrupt the system in order for it to benefit them. They came with their agenda.
You've seen that fabric.
Yeah.
You've even said it. They came in, brought in their system so that it favors them. What is one, or they brought in their ways. Let's break it down to even that simple language. What was one of their ways? One of the things they did? Knows these people literally mapped out our country to favor them.
To favor them. That's so true. That is so true.
They mapped out their country.
That's the reason as to why they went on ahead, and that's how they were able now to divide the colonies.
Yes. They mapped out the borders of this country so that it favors them. Can you see where Africa is going
just
wrong?
Record, then utafocus to record.
Every African country has a problem because of that.
Because of that same system.
Because there is Tanzania, there is Kenya, there is this, and those borders were put there to favor them. Aren't they still favoring them?
Oh yeah, they're still favoring them.
I'm sorry for saying that.
That's why I want to go back to police system and judicial system.
Are in their countries, did you hear Burkina Faso? And how they stopped some mining.
They stopped some mining. The time Burkina Faso actually went on ahead and decided to do things back to their original way of life. They were actually now doing assassination attempts on Traore. You know what I mean? And I want us to go back to this. Taki tumalize episode kabla sijaongelea story.
Okay.
So here's the thing. Let's now start practicality, how it now all started also. This shit all started at 1890 to now going on ahead to 1964. I wish you get
1864 to
1890 to 1964.
Right.
So they come in.
Yeah.
Okay. When they come in, umesema very key thing, they mapped out our country.
Yes.
These niggas were straight to kill, shoot to kill. Because they had an agenda. We want to create a system that will live beyond us. Right? So they come in, they map out the communities. Umesema we were already existing in clans. Yes, we are. We were actually existing in clans, sub-clans and all that. This community. Yes, we had conflicts with each other, but it wasn't like just take a battery Donel to malzane na kitu once and for all.
Yeah.
Please check if this has battery. Is that on?
Na mbona mlieka
the ordinary.
Sawa.
Da 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 da. Of course your battery haina kitu. I think hizo zangu za brown ziko na vitu.
Zina moto? Iko na ngapi?
Hata hiyo brown
iko na ngapi?
16. Yeah, brown iko na.
Hiyo asante fanya ulikuwa na Nicholas anything wrong.
Hata sikumbuki.
Na ukiniuliza kama nimepea tafadhali the camera.
Hakuko na kitu wrong. Haina zero.
Na hii ya white na mwisho. Kewe wish to get
ni venye. Unaona kina Tafari wanaendanga gigs na hizi kamera. Na mimi sipendelee kwa sababu there's another thing in me that tells me zero. There's another thing in me that tells me
shit.
As much as they come to church, if these equipments were not there, who knows?
Ama what if Donel we sorry guys, technical issues. So I was saying this. I was saying what is it called? They came in with a system, or rather with a way of life, with the aim of establishing it so that it can actually go on ahead and serve them even in the long run, long before they leave, right? Because that'll actually come with it, with the whole even element of IMF, nini, because there's a whole lot that's actually going on. So they come with the system, nini. So they came in at 1890. They divided the communities. The communities already divided into different clans. There's this clan, there's this clan, there's this clan, there's this clan, right? They had a way of life, They established that for us to go on ahead and control it, we're gonna do the divide and rule. So the divide and rule easy way of doing divide and rule is actually causing hate, right? I mean, if I hate you, because I remember they used to go with the whole element of like, I tell you, do you know Donnell said this about you? Oh, really? It creates, that's how even tribalism was a way, a seed that it's a colonial seed. Yes, it was there. Communities used not to like each other, but to the depth in it was imprinted on us. The seed was actually sown during the
from the social studies, I remember. I remember that there were collaborators.
Yeah.
And they were what?
Actually, but before hata nifike hapo, nakuja hapo. So between 1890 to 1964. For some communities, they saw, okay, we do not have the gear or rather the equipment of going against these individuals. So the best way to actually go ahead and do this is actually to collaborate, right? We can all agree on that. That's why it came in the element of now collaborators, came in with those that didn't collaborate, and it caused like a whole lot of rumble, and it caused also chaos. I agree with that. Don't get it twisted. But there's still also an element of the colonialism infiltrating, or rather sowing a seed of hatred among the Kenyan communities or among the African people. They're actually going against unity. You know what I mean? Because if people are united at the front, that's a problem for them. That's the reason as to why they ended up, they were really against the Mau Mau. Because Mau Mau was actually in, I know many people think that Mau Mau was solely secluded for the Kikuyu community, but it was actually spread out to other communities. That's why immediately after independence, there was the formation of KADU. KANU was now the political system that was actually formed for the government. KANU, yeah, that was the political party that was actually formed for the government. KADU was the political firm that was formed with other communities. You know, makes sense? So I don't want to go there because I don't want to go go away from the whole topic. But that's the reason as to why Kenyatta was so much against KADU was because it was a threat to his agenda of actually still staying in power and, using power, ensuring the power is actually on the government. So aside from that, so they came in, the community is already secluded. So the best way for them to actually go ahead and ensure that they have a footprint on the communities, the best way is always to do what? Use the already existing system, or rather use the already existing people to go on ahead and push further your agenda. That makes sense. It's easy math. I don't know your language, so I'm going to pick a representative from your clan, from your community, talk to them nicely, and ensure that they go on ahead and speak my language or my words to these specific people. Let's specifically now focus on the police system, how the police system now came to be to what it actually is today, what the problem actually started. So back then there were chiefs, right? The head of every community, there was the chief, maybe sub chief or something. I think sub chief now came on later on. No, it was the guards, the chief, and going upwards and upwards. So the chiefs were the community representative of a specific place, who are, it's like I go on ahead, I choose a particular person to actually pass my agenda on this community, this clan. So here's how it started. Here's actually how the way of how the political system was actually not infringed, how it was messed up from the get-go. So they came in, they went on ahead, they selected chiefs at specific areas. They told them, the specific thing that actually to do was to collect tax hut.
Okay.
Tax hut it's like permits. Nowadays, businesses pay permits to actually exist, more or less like tax. What's more or less like tax? So they actually to collect tax hut, speak out for the communities in terms of the issues they were actually going through. I'm not quite sure if they handle land issues per se, but I think later on they went on ahead and selected court representatives actually to represent land matters. Or they did settle land matters or land issues. They went on ahead and they were in charge of selecting people who are actually to be exempted from hard labor. They also had that role. So they went on ahead. These were the roles of the chiefs. So as a result of actually them going on ahead and being selected for those specific roles on actually executing those roles and all that, the colonialists never paid them. They didn't pay them. They never gave them any form of remuneration and all that. So it was out for them to go actually and fend for themselves. It's like, I require you to go on ahead and execute this heavy duty work, but there's no form of compensation that I'm actually going on ahead and giving you. So automatically, as a human being, the survival instinct will actually make you to actually now start fending for yourself, being creative on how to actually go on ahead and fend for yourself. Yeah. So here's how now the police system now started being infringed, or rather being broken, say. So chiefs now started looking for lucratives of getting chums on money from the people. So how did they do that? They now started collecting over amounts. It's like, I'm required to take 10 shillings bob from Donnell. So since I want some chums kidogo on my pocket, I'm gonna go on ahead and infringe, like kind of sort of increase tax on the Kenyan people, but without the knowledge of the colonialist, because I'm finding lucrative ways of actually getting chums. So I tell Donnell now, tax at imepanda to 11 shillings. What does that happen? Donnell has no, has no power to say no. They'll actually go on ahead. And in case if Donnell goes on ahead and actually maybe Donnell community decide to go on ahead and advocate, or rather speak out on the issue of the injustice to the colonial people, they were like, they don't pay attention to it. They entertain it. They want it actually to go on ahead like that way. So what does that go on ahead and happen? It goes on ahead and it happens that what is it called? You can't touch chief so and so, because the colonialist or the colonial government is actually backing him up to actually go on ahead and be corrupt. So it slowly starts getting infiltrated, or it slowly starts becoming a way of life in the African system. It does not stop there. It goes on ahead to the place whereby you remember, chiefs also had a key role of exempting people from actually going on ahead and executing hard labor. It's like, see, back then there was like hard labor, going to the shamba, going on ahead and doing all those tasky job. Chiefs had that power of actually saying, so and so, I exempt them from actually not going to do this work, or actually going on ahead and executing this and that.
Sure.
And it was approved by the colonial government. So what that led to, it now led to chiefs actually going on ahead and telling people, by the way, if you want me to exempt you, inaanza ku make sense how ukitumia back then, how the way of life and the current system, the way of life right now, there's quite a lot of similarity.
So like, you pay me.
Pay me ikidogo money, then I'm gonna exempt you from what? From actually going on ahead and doing the tasky labor. So corruption is slowly being infringed in the way or in the culture of Africa, of the African societies. It doesn't stop there. I get greedy, because how corruption works, it starts small. It's like the mustard seed, small, but it grows bigger. And when it gets bigger, becomes this whole tree that you'll now have to stake a saw to take it down. Aya. It goes on ahead. I'm like, I get more greedy. I want more money. I want a particular lifestyle. I hear of chief so and so. By the majority, the first people actually be owning cars back in those back in the 1980s and all that. Not 1980, back in the 1930s, going on forward, were chiefs. Actually, there's a particular chief, I can't quite remember the name. The first chief was the first chief to actually own a Chevrolet. Not a Toyota, not a Land Rover, a Chevrolet. Just to tell you how much that was a lucrative thing back in the day. For you to get a Chevrolet, there were actually a lot of, how can I call it? It was a process. Because remember, we are not modernized. Countries are still at the place of, how can I call it? They're still growing. So there's no logistics system, there's no shipment system, or there's no import system. So for me to actually go ahead and import a car back from, what is it called? A Chevrolet, because Chevrolet is an American company. For me to actually go ahead and do that, I must have crazy amount of cash. You know, it makes what I say. So I hear of Chief so-and-so is actually going on ahead and doing this. I hear of Chief so-and-so going on ahead and is doing well for himself. And to further add on to that, colonialists encourage them to actually do that in order for them to show the African people, if you want this, you need to collaborate. You know, makes sense? It's like, you want this way of life, you want luxury, collaborate with us. So it's more or less like I want to pass a message, but I'm passing a message in the wrongest form of way. Corruption, influencing people to actually go ahead and do, like, it was more of like encouragement. You see so and so is doing well. Do you want to go ahead and do well like them? Come and join me. You know what I mean? So it's like they're encouraging this system, and as slowly as this system is actually being encouraged into the culture of the African people, the more it's messing us up. In the short term, they're enjoying the fruits, or rather the goodies. But in the long run, it's turning into a monster that it actually is today. To worsen it off, see, it starts as a mustard seed. It goes on ahead and grows to be like, I want more. So how do I go on ahead and get more? Let me now start doing illegal activities. So back then, a widow was automatically exempted from hard labor, from actually not going on ahead and doing the heavy duty things and all that. But since I've decided this small seed of corruption that was sown from the get-go has grown to maybe a small tree. Now I go on ahead and be like, now I want to take advantage of them. People who actually deserve it, in as much as they deserve it, I still want to go on ahead and take from them. So I go on ahead and be like, okay, so and so requires this. But in as much as you require this, for that to actually happen, because mi ndo kusema, you still need to go on ahead and give me money. For me to go on ahead and do what? And exempt you. Because niki decide. Now that's using power to benefit you. Power sasa imefika place, you're being encouraged to do this. Imefika place, imekuwa infiltrated in your system. Now, let me go on ahead and use, because corruption is what? Corruption is actually using power to your benefit, or to benefit yourself in actuality. So since now I have that power at my disposal, do you know what? I'm gonna go on ahead and use it to benefit myself. So I'm gonna even go on ahead and do injustice on people who actually deserve that justice. You know, make sense? That's not serious. But namaliza tu saisa. So I gone ahead and take advantage of the widow, the community. I gone ahead and take advantage of the small common mwananchi in the community. I even gone ahead and take advantage of what is it called, the senior people in the, what is it called, in the community. You know what I mean? Senior people, any person, I go on ahead now and start taking more and more advantage. It's like I want to go on ahead and eat until to oblivion. Because once you start, you can't stop. Because it has been infringed as a way of life in your life. Like nipatikana kwa shida, hata kama una deserve your help, lazima unichote. You know what I mean? Because a widow ako exempted from actually going on ahead and doing something. I still want to go on ahead and feed from that widow. You know what I mean? So it got worse and worse and worse. And remember, we are gonna go on ahead and continue it next week on the next episode. And remember, so it started small. It not only started small as a small seed in people's heart, or rather in the authorities' heart, but it also started small in the establishment of the system that you actually have today. Because remember, that chief, si akifanya ndo ukwe promoted, because there are chiefs actually were promoted now to being senior chiefs. For you actually to go on ahead and do that, you must have collaborated really well. You must have licked the colonial people's asses. Very good for them to actually go on ahead and give you a promotion. The more they are being promoted, the more corruption is climbing up the ladder.